Okay, we're doing a Wheelersburg tornado oral history interview, and we have at this time,
Mark Harris.
Todd Vulgamore.
George Crumm.
okay, there's the fun part, your age or date of birth.
Well, I was born July 1952.
Okay,
April 30th, 1951.
May 13, 52.
okay, are you married?
Yes.
Are you married?
Yes, I am.
Are you married?
Yes.
Your wife's maiden name?
Hayes.
Wife's maiden name?
Weekland.
Evans.
You had to think about that, didn't you? How long have you lived in this area?
All my life.
Okay.
All my life.
All my life.
Okay. Where were you living at the time of this event?
Rosemount Road. I lived on the Eden Park side of the hill.
Okay,
I lived on Hogan Street in Rosemount.
okay,
I lived across the street from him on Hogan Street.
okay. Was your family affected by the 1968 tornado?
Mine was not, I don't think.
No.
No, mine wasn't either.
Okay. What do you remember about that day? And you can speak, I'm not going to point to each one of you, just tell me what you
We've
remember.
all probably got some interesting memories. We were, as you know, we had the track meet with Wheelersburg. We were at their track field, which is the football field, I guess, up on the hill. It was high up. I guess, is it still up there?
Yes.
I guess. Yeah.
Yes,
Well, I
it
guess it
is.
is. I drove up there one day to see if I really saw what I seen. But and we were right there in the middle of it. To this day, I believe I saw it part the Ohio River and dig mud out of the bottom. We were that high up, and it was not like now. The trees weren't out enough yet to block the view. I remember seeing all that mud when it come across from Kentucky, and then it come right up to where we were at. You remember all the telephone poles?
My strongest recollection of what happened that day, a few things. I don't recall any type of funnel cloud or detail of mud or anything. I don't remember that, but I remember the wind being so strong and watching those light poles for the football field back then they had all those round lights, and the wind, it was bending those poles and just kept bending them, and all of a sudden they just snapped off. One snapped off, and 2 or 3 seconds later the one next to it snapped off.
They just kept crisscrossing and coming towards where we were at.
And there was, we had his mom's 1960 Pontiac Safari station wagon, and that's because we were playing Wheelersburg, and we had to. I don't think we done a bus. We just done.
I think we didn't have
Had
the bus.
half a dozen cars probably, and there was about 9 of us guys in. The Wheelersburg boys got in their dugout or their building, and we all got in our cars. And the car next to us, which was Roger Lehman's parents' car, because it was a 4-door Buick.
Yeah.
A teenager wouldn't want to be caught dead in a Buick.
Yeah. Let alone 4 doors.
Yeah. And a pole come down and hit his car right where the rear window and the back window, that post right there, right in that area, it hit it. And boy, we were all in there.
The cars were all kind of backed in at the end of the field, wasn't it?
I think
right.
so. And we were just hoping nothing would hit ours, and it didn't.
Yeah.
I think there were some wires maybe that was laying across from it, and we had a metal pole, like a practice pole vault pole, running clear down on the inside of the car. That's how, you just do what you need to do to get to where you're going, and then we carried the pole because we had a station wagon. And we all were saying we need to stay away from that pole in case there's lightning or in case that those lines were live, and I remember that.
When the pole hit the car next to us, I think that was Keith
That was
Burgess.
Roger. Well,
Yeah.
now I don't remember.
It
I remember
creased the
hitting
top of it.
Roger's car. You said one hit Burchett's
Yeah,
car.
yeah, I think so.
And I don't remember
I tried
that.
to get a hold of Keith. I couldn't get a hold of him. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had power lines over our car. At the time when the wind started picking up, a few of us were on the other end of the field, pole vaulting on that event. and our coach started screaming, "Get in the shelter house," and everybody saw that it was getting too windy. So everybody headed in, and we were just about done. Anyway, we grabbed a pole and started running for our car, and the wind would blow us down and blow us backwards. Steve Allen and I remember for sure, was there. You would run 10 feet, hunkered down. We didn't think we were going to make it to the car. It was that, I'd never been in wind that strong. And it would blow us down and blow us 15 or 20 feet backwards, and you'd be clawing on the ground. We finally made it, and like I said, while we were on our way, these poles were snapping and falling across the field. The athletic building at the time up there, I remember after we got into the car, debris flying everywhere. You could see I won't say funnel cloud, I just remember it being real hazy, dark, coming up the Kentucky, up the river, out of South Shore, Kentucky area. And Mark said he saw it when it crossed the river. There were so many, I thought 13, I know that for sure, we had 9 men, boys, in my mom's station wagon.
We thought we
couldn't
were
get
men.
couldn't get to the athletic building. We just got, where we could. And
Well, that building he's talking about, our coach and maybe assistant coach.
Coach
got in there,
Leitenheimer.
Yeah,
Dave Leitenheimer.
slid the door shut, and they no sooner got it slid shut, and it blowed the whole door off, and there they stood. We could see them standing there. And that was, I remember that.
And then when it passed, that lasted, I'd say, in the neighborhood of 12 to 15 minutes, maybe, with all the hard wind.
We must have just got started on the track meet, because I don't remember ever running. I mean, our events didn't come up. I think it.
Yeah, that event might have
'Cause you
been
guys
done
were probably-
because I don't remember, and I can't remember the exact time,
Yeah, I don't know.
but
it was around 10 to 4, I'm guessing. I remember it was April 23rd, 1968.
oh, was that the date?
Uh-huh.
See, now, I didn't remember the date.
And, that's something you don't forget. When it was all over, I know we were all just,
Dumbfounded.
yes,
Oh, yeah.
completely.
Yeah.
Well, behind us, there was a rooftop raised up in the air. I remember seeing it, and then it just disappeared. It must have fell back down, that type of violent wind.
When we left, the high school was probably, I'm going to call it east of the heart of the tornado, quarter to half mile. It was down to Reinhardt's was the heart of it, when it went up the hill
Yeah.
over the cemetery. But when we left the high school, they told us, don't touch the car because you might get shot. I started the car and we drove out from under the power line.
Yeah, we had it all.
A lot of the power was off.
We wanted to go home.
Yeah, we wanted to go home.
I remember when we got down to the bottom of the hill and turned on the old 52. I think it was Harrison Funeral Home.
Yeah, right there by the church, I think, yeah.
There was a guy pulled down on a pickup truck, had his, I'm assuming, daughter. She seemed lifeless, and he carried her out of the car. Her clothes were half torn off of her, and was trying to get to at that time, I guess, funeral homes were the ambulances also.
Yeah, we were leaving before any emergency vehicles was even coming that way.
When we got down there, nobody was hardly coming out of their homes yet. There was a guy walking down the road. I thought he had his ear torn off. He was carrying his lunch bucket.
I remember that.
Had some blood on his
His face
Yeah.
was
side of his
bloody.
head.
Holding his ear or his eye or something, yeah. And then-
It looked like his ear had been severed.
And then we got
And you
to,
could tell he was in shock because we slowed down and what was it? We saw his vehicle.
Yeah.
Went to the doctor, wrote in blood.
Written in blood on the windshield, said, going to see the doctor. Yeah, I remember that as plain as day.
now was that before we got to where the Shape Rebuilding was?
Yeah, we were
yes.
still up in.
We were still up in
yeah.
Wheelersburg, and that Shape Rebuilding was just maybe kind of on the west end.
Yeah, 'cause we had to go down past that
Wheelersburg.
to get out of
Yeah.
there. At
But
time,
that
we didn't have
building-
the highway.
That, what they call the Shape Rebuilding, it was just like somebody had caved all the walls in and the roof was just laying right down on the ground. Do you
Yeah,
remember that?
yeah, yeah.
And right in that area on the highway there was a truck, a van, a tractor trailer, and it was laying on its side. The wind had turned it over.
And all that
Do you
debris up
remember
on the
that?
bank below Bell Hill, remember all that? Just-
Oh, yeah, there was just all kind of debris. And then as you left that Wheelersburg proper and probably down towards 140, there wasn't near as much stuff tore up,
Right.
but there wasn't too much hail there.
No, no.
But when we got to
Yeah,
let
we got to
him
let me
out
out my house.
on Rosemount Road, well, he lived on the Eden Park side.
The hail was so deep, they couldn't go over the hill. They had to
Yeah,
back
it was,
down.
they had hail big as golf
It
balls.
was unreal.
Yeah, I mean, big stacks of it
Tennis
on the
balls.
side of the road. Yeah, good size, biggest hail I'd ever
The
seen.
roads were so slick and covered.
Yeah, just like an ice storm hit. I mean, it was, covered. The roads were slick.
You know, I heard later that there were probably several tornadoes in the area that didn't touch down that day. But I do remember the hail, and this was 20 minutes after the tornado in Wheelersburg had hit,
At least, yeah.
that Eden Park was white with hail. So I don't know.
We'd have turned up, we would have come into town on 52 and then turned right there at True Value on the corner of 130, where CVS is now. And we would have went up 139, clear to Eden Park and then turned left on the Rosemount Road. And there was a lot of hail that we encountered probably when we got to Eden Park. I don't remember that much in New Boston.
No.
But when you got to Eden Park and the farther closer you got to the hill, before you go over Rosemount Hill, the closer you got to it, the more hail there was.
We probably didn't realize how lucky we were to be there and to get out of there like we did. But we were lucky.
Mhm.
But I remember leaving Wheelersburg, the old Shapery building, Reinhardt, where the Reinhardt building is today, close to that area. The cemetery up on the hill, you could tell, I mean, there was debris, trees, limbs, and I heard later that it had actually taken a lot of the stones out of the ground and carried them on up on even up on the ridge, I heard. I later that summer worked at Vandervoort's as a delivery boy. We did a lot of plumbing, kitchens, household appliances back in those days, and driving up on the ridge, it was 3 months, 4 months later, all summer, I delivered up there while they were still clearing out, just foundations, no houses in places. Amazing. One house would be almost intact and the house beside it be gone. Strange, to say the least. It's a shame we didn't have phones in those days
Cell
that
phones,
took
yeah.
pictures.
Yeah.
Because we'd have had some good ones.
Oh,
that day.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there would have certainly been some good videos from your cell phone back
Oh, yeah.
then.
Well, people just walking around in a panic when we come down off the hill from the school. I mean, on our way out. You
We were dumbfounded and if you want to say in awe of the damage that was. I mean, you drive up there to the meet and everything's just normal, and an hour and a half later, it's chaos.
Well, they didn't have the forecast and the weather system that they've got now,
Oh, yeah.
We'd probably not even been able to go if they'd have known what was coming.
Looking back, I don't know of anyone at the track meet that was injured that day.
No, we were lucky.
I don't think there was. Nobody was.
So lucky.
to my
I
recollection.
can't imagine our coach being in charge of all the boys, being responsible,
Yeah,
what he went through, looking back.
yeah.
Yeah.
We could care less at that time,
Yeah,
Yeah, we were just having a big time till it all hit.
Yeah, the Clay boys all got in our vehicles, and then the Wheelersburg boys all got in that
The concrete
their
block.
concrete
building, yeah.
athletic building probably where the football team dressed
like a
or
dugout or
that,
something,
yeah,
yeah.
something, because that was right on the football field. And it was just, to this day, I've not encountered weather that destructive in my life.
No.
You know, that was really something to be in.
I do remember before it hit, because I've seen it a time or two since then, seemed like the clouds were up higher, then all of a sudden we had real low clouds going fast. I remember, and it was.
And it got
I've
black
never-
dark.
Yeah.
I mean, just almost like nighttime.
Very eerie.
Yeah, quiet. And,
Just in a very few minutes.
yeah, right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much all I can remember.
Yeah,
I used to remember more.
Yeah, I probably did too.
I used to laugh at my father. He would be a little forgetful, and I think I'm a lot more forgetful than what he was.
Now you understand this. You understand why your grandpa remembered things from 50 years ago, but he couldn't remember where he ate yesterday.
Yeah.
You're understanding that now,
Yeah,
and so am
Oh,
I.
we all
Every
get
day.
there.
Oh,
We
yeah,
all
that's
get there,
just
yeah.
kind of the way that is, yeah.
But you guys, I mean, you've brought forth some very, things I hadn't heard in any of the interviews, so very interesting.
I don't remember, I'd heard that an empty rail car got rolled
Turned
over.
over.
Yeah,
Now, I didn't see that, but I had heard that.
Well, we're looking for a picture of that. But yeah.
I'm sure-
11 cars were knocked over, one of them ended up in the ditch.
Rail cars?
Rail cars.
Okay.
N&W
Well,
railroad
that tells
cars.
you the force of that.
Well, they'd always said, straws through telephone poles and different things, and I think there was some of that up there. We probably drove right by.
Yeah.
I remember seeing
I
it.
believe there was,
Myself,
somebody
right.
else told me that
Yeah.
of stuff up on the
Yeah,
ridge.
right, I think so.
I tell you what, I think it was, Dean Lobwick.
Yeah, that's my cousin. Yeah,
That's right.
Did
Did they live,
that'll tell to me.
I don't know if it was him or somebody else. Maybe it was him telling me. They didn't live up there in Wheelersburg at that time, did they?
I don't remember where they lived.
Well, he went to New Boston, so
Yeah,
I wouldn't.
Probably not.
Maybe it was somebody else. Must have been.
See, we were
that
lucky
lived
because
up
all
there.
this was happening below us, really. I mean, it come across the river and then it kind of stayed down. We were up on that hill.
Yeah.
But had we been down lower, we would have probably been affected more than we were.
Oh, I'll tell you another thing I remember. You guys probably remember this. They had some huge sycamore trees down that football field that was kind of terraced down to old 52.
Right.
Not 52. It'd be the old 52.
right,
You know
right.
what I'm talking about?
Yeah, your pike.
Yeah. And I remember at least one of those sycamore trees. I'm talking about an 80-foot tree with a trunk that big. When it had blowed over, it took the sidewalk and all and just rolled it up with it. Do you remember that?
No, I don't remember.
See, now I remember that. A big sycamore that was rolled over and when it takes the roots and all and the sidewalk with it.
Yeah, it was an exciting day.
Yeah, oh yeah, it most certainly was. That seems like a long time ago. Of course it was.
50 years.
And there were so many of us up
50?
there that day.
It'll be
nice.
50 this
Yeah, it'll be
23rd
50 years.
of April.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
what we're doing this for, the 50th
Okay.
anniversary.
Yeah.
Hopefully you can get some of the Wheelersburg guys that was up there that would remember
Yeah, they would
as much or more.
they
than
would
we-
remember more because it was their home territory. Yeah.
Now, we're also doing a scanning project, and we've had several people bring in images. So after we get everything together, and on the 14th, we will have an exhibit in Wheelersburg.
No, I'd be.
It'll be at the church that used to be the old community center, or vice versa, for 2 days, the 14th and 15th. The reception will be on the 14th, and there'll be an exhibit, and then it'll move to the Wheelersburg Library for 2 weeks. Then it'll be for the whole month of May at the Pioneer Village.
No, okay.
After that, these images that we've scanned, with the permission of the people who own them, will be on our website. So that's something
That'd be
you
good.
probably want to watch for.
And where's it gonna be at first?
It'll be, it's across from Vanderwart's in Wheelersburg.
Oh,
It's a-
okay. The old Cook Hardware.
Yeah. It'll be in that building for a weekend, and then it'll go to the Wheelersburg Library, then it'll go to Pioneer Village.
Okay.
Okay.
Have you got an idea of how many images there are?
No, because we have Don Davis's collection that we were allowed to, are you guys familiar with Don Davis?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
His wife allowed us to scan that whole collection, so we
Oh,
have
I'm
that.
sure those are good pictures, yeah. They'll have
Yes.
a lot of good stuff, yeah.
And then we've had some other images that people, when they were able to, went out and took pictures. And we've also had people bring in 16 millimeter, and we bought
Oh, man.
equipment in order to,
Copy that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that would be
Yeah.
good.
so we have that too.
You know, there's people, I've heard lots of stories, I mean, people that lost their homes, and, one fellow I know, some of his relation was a school bus driver, and it destroyed the bus, and he was hanging onto a tree and, survived it. And you get some people like that to give you some of their stories that were right in the thing.
Now, the thing
Amazing.
is a lot of the older folk, the people that were adults at the time are gone,
Oh,
Sure.
sure.
because it's
yeah.
50
Well,
years.
these people are,
Yeah.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
It's hard to believe it's been 50 years.
yeah.
Tells you how old you are.
Yeah. He had the one who called me yesterday, wanted to know what we was gonna meet about.
Yeah, there I'm sitting in church Sunday and I hear that, I forgot to turn it off, but it doesn't, when you text, it
Well, I
doesn't
just
make
got
much
home from
noise.
church, so I
And it
thought-
was you sent me that text about coming down here to the library. I didn't have a clue what it was about. Of course, I didn't want to text during church.
That's actually makes it-
When I got out, I said, what was it? I hate to be so forgetful, but what in the world are you talking about?
Yeah.
Meeting at the library. And then you said, don't you remember about the tornado or something? And I said, oh yeah, which I didn't, but I said, oh yeah. So that was the score there.
Yeah, hate to be so stupid and forgetful, but why are we going to the library tomorrow? I said, I hope I don't get that old. I said,
Yeah,
"Let's
that's
talk about
what I
the
said, and then he said, I hope I don't get that old. All right,
all right, I think that's it.
Well,
Okay.
That wasn't too painful, was it?
didn't hurt bad at all.
No,